Okay.
Hello.
We've got to start on time because a punk festival is nothing if not punctual. We're putting a punk in punctual. Hello!
Hello!
Hello! Welcome to the Vandal Factory podcast. My name's Henry Raby.
My name's Natalie Quatermass, and together we are
Vandal Factory.
But you guys already knew that. Thanks for coming. All 5 audience members, that's about the same amount of people who listen to the Vandal Factory podcast. You're part of a very niche group of people. Congratulations.
Well, we are recording this, so we'll delete that.
Okay.
And what we'll do is we'll say, hello audience, and you'll sound like not 5 people, but 10 people.
Yeah.
We'll double that listenership.
We're going to edit in like Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
There's just going to be hordes of people. Can you give us a cheer and make it sound like you're in Wembley Stadium and there's not 5 of you? 3, 2, 1! Not bad. We'll get you warmed up. We're very much needed to be a part of this because otherwise it's a bit odd because it's quite a small room. So you do need to. We're going to know each other very well by the end of.
Yeah, and Tabby needs to leave halfway through to go to a
right.
band, so we're going to lose a fifth of our audience.
Come on, man, honestly. If you don't know, me and Henry are those funny thing called artists, and we do poetry and theatre and community stuff. And we like our punk, and we also like our activism, and we like fighting the good fight and social justice. And so this is a podcast where artists and activists come together, and we have beautiful conversations, usually about hope and anger, because they're the 2 main fuels that keep artists and activists going in these dark times.
And we've got special guests in this episode, haven't we?
We certainly do.
She's over there.
We're going to be joined by the incredible Millie Manders! Woo!
Oh my God, they sounded like 11 people then.
One of the Shutup.
A solitary Shutup. Shut up. No.
Keep talking. Yeah, we should keep
That's
talking.
the sort of elements of podcasts.
We've prepared a little game to start us off. This is a game specifically for Manchester Punk Festival 2025. We're going to test your knowledge. Actually, we're not testing your knowledge. I don't like tests.
Now it's very clear, this is not a quiz.
This is not a quiz, this is a game. It's
Game.
very different. Don't like quizzes, don't mind a game. It's called Punk Band or Ale.
Correct. What we did it a few years ago.
Yeah.
And the premise is, we've got a list of bands that are playing NPF. We've got a list of ales that I found on the internet, and you're going to guess whether this is a band playing at NPF, so don't look at any t-shirts, like, has anyone got or is it an ale? And if you get it right, you get a zine.
Yeah, oh my gosh, we've got the Vandal Factory zine! Ooh! Yeah. Shut up, guys, honestly, chill out. Such nerds.
Okay.
Cool, right, you ready for your first punk band or ale?
So you're going to shout out, should we give you a cheer if you think it's an ale?
Yeah.
Cheer if it's a punk band. I'm going to have a drink of back teeth. Back teeth.
Punk band or ale? Give us a cheer for ale.
Yay!
Give us a cheer for punk band.
I know, that's probably really popular.
Yeah. Okay, give somebody a zine, Natalie.
Oh, okay, who do we give it to? Well, everyone got it right apart from this guy over here. So.
Let's reward failure.
Yeah, just to keep suspense going. Would you like the zine? You can have our first Vandal Factory zine. There you go. Sorry, everyone.
Come on in.
Thanks,
More audiences to the Vandal Factory podcast. Just for the listeners at home, listening to this on their commute.
400 people just
Whoa.
walked in.
We can't move the people.
Whoa.
So we're playing a game called Punk Band or Ale. Is this a band or an ale? Quaffer.
The Quaffer.
Quaffer.
Give us a cheer if you think it's a punk band. Give us a cheer. Give us a cheer if you think it's an ale.
It's an ale, yeah.
It's an ale.
It's a good name, though. I'd go see Quaffer.
Who cheered the loudest then? Did you see them?
Let's give it to these new folks,
Okay.
because that makes them feel welcome and happy.
You get a zine.
Hey!
Welcome.
Okay.
So far, we have celebrated incorrectness and tardiness. So, you gotta get the vibe. Next one is lay down my bones. Lay Down My Bones, punk band or ale?
I bet they'll sound a bit gaslight for me.
Yeah.
They're a bit like Sunline.
Give us a cheer if you think it's an ale. Woo! Give us a cheer if you think it's a punk band. Woo! Ah, it's an ale.
What a bunch of thickos!
Oh,
Nah, that's ableist language. Shouldn't use that.
We're going to keep playing
that.
until everyone's got a zine.
All 400 people have zines. This is an easy one.
We'll do a difficult one then.
All right. Nails emoji. Nails emoji. That sounds like one of them punk bands, or could it be one of them ales? Give us a cheer if you think it's an ale. Woo. Punk band.
Woo. You're right. Congratulations.
It's an ale.
Well done.
I think it's from the Queer Brewery. I think.
Woo.
There we go.
I think that's enough now. We should move on.
Yeah, I'm bored now.
Yeah.
Done now.
He's a bit ambitious with his quizzes. He loves a quiz. So he's got like 50 of them down here, but we'd be here all day.
Crack on.
Cheers, everyone.
So like Natalie said, we talk a lot on this podcast about hope. We talk a lot about anger. So we ask ourselves, like, how's your hope, how's your anger? And we also want to ask you guys, what's making you hopeful? What's fueling you? What's making you feel confident and loved and excited? But also what is bubbling away inside you that is like, stuff is fucked. So should we start?
Yeah, absolutely. Henry, how's your hope, how's your anger?
So the news this week has really fucked me up is that the Supreme Court, the UK Supreme Court, have ruled in terms of that a woman is defined biologically, or which puts gender as very like specific and binary and forced, and creates this whole narrative that erases trans people, or worse, is going to discriminate. Both me and Natalie are cis, but we are trans allies, and I didn't see it coming, to be honest. It wasn't on my radar, and it was announced. But my hope is that the sheer wealth of anger and love and rage and solidarity across networks, and there are obviously loads of protests happening this weekend of people coming together, especially in Manchester, where we are MPF. So there is my anger that like this is yet another attack against a marginalised group, but also those groups do respond.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I'm going to waffle on about my hope and anger later. So let's hear from the audience. Does anyone want to share something that has made them hopeful, or something that's made them really angry recently? How's your hope? How's your anger? What's this on the scale of like, where's it tipping at the minute?
I'm always angry.
Come on. You can also plug your podcast while you're here.
Hello.
What's your name? Where'd you come from?
I'm Tabsy or Tabby or Tayaba or Tabs or T, depending on who you are and where you know me from. Where am I? Well, I'm angry all the time. I don't want to list all the reasons. There's many reasons. The Supreme Court ruling, obviously. Genocide in Palestine, obviously. Shit going on in Congo, obviously. If I start listing all of this stuff, this is going to take some time.
There's a lot in it.
There is a lot.
How do you express that anger? What does it look like?
So I go to punk gigs and I scream.
Yes. Relatable.
Who's here to channel some fucking rage?
I'm ready.
Ready.
I'm ready to shout and scream. But yeah, I guess hope, stuff like this. So MPF is like, this is my 7th or 8th time coming. It's my favourite thing. It's the only thing that keeps me going. So hope, like events like this always give me loads of hope because it's always super inclusive. I always have a great time. I make loads of friends. Forget all their names. Meet them again the next year. Say, I remember you from last year. Let's hang out. Never remember any names. That's fine. We don't need names. So yeah, hope stuff like this makes me hopeful.
And please plug
Your
your
podcast, yeah. So somehow I've got roped into doing the Weirdo podcast tomorrow, Weirdo Live. We've never done a live one before. I've never hosted a podcast before, so this is going to be great fun. Weirdo is a collective that celebrates and highlights the contributions of South Asian punks, goths, metalheads, alternative people in music, fashion, art. So tomorrow we're interviewing Riaz from Grailguard and Pravan Wani from Reason to Leave. It's going to be pretty chill, so please come and check us out. We will talk a little bit about inclusivity and growing up South Asian in the UK punk scene, but we also just kind of want to have a nice little chit chat.
Amazing, thank you so much. Give her a round of applause. Oh, let's get you get someone else, and I'll get a zine for tabbing.
Okay.
Who knew there was so much admin involved? Right, steady now.
Anybody else want to share when I say hopeful, it could be something that you're listening to, some music, or something that you've watched recently. You're like, that gives me some hope. That excites me. You're a musician.
So I work in theatre. So I run a theatre company, but just yeah.
Go on, give yourself a
Oh,
And then you can say you've been on the podcast.
I didn't do this to give myself a plug, but I run a theatre company called Frozen Light, and we make sensory theatre for adult audiences with profound learning disabilities that we tour all over the UK. So we've been to the Lowry in Manchester already, and we're based in Norwich. And just doing that work and being privileged to have a job where I get to play and create joy and share that is just an absolute honour, and I have to kind of live, and I think I made my life that job because I have to live in that joyful space.
Yeah, I think we can relate to that. Thank you so much. That's
Creating those
beautiful.
joyful spaces.
Well, speaking of how artists are gonna get us through this time and save the world, no pressure, mate. We're gonna hear a poem.
I'm going to do a little poem, and
Henry
I'm going to
Raby
get
now.
Millie Manders and the Shutup on to do a little song for you folks. But I will do a little poem. This is an angrier
Quite
one.
close to you when I sit here. I've never been this close to you while you're doing a
Oh,
poem.
okay, great.
It's quite intense.
Yeah.
We live together, we've moved in together, and now we spend too much time together.
Too
much
podcast room.
time.
It's
Yeah.
an angrier one, but I'm going to do it because
I'm gonna have to move. I can't sit here and not heckle you. Go on, right.
the national anthem fades into the English breeze. I've been wading through British mud right up to my knees. Optimism is good. Maybe the UK should try it. We made it through the year and we didn't have a riot. Proud and stable with a pre-selected assortment of the press, the Prime Minister addressed the state of the state's distress. Petty and post-expert, they made a bold oratory claim, and as they walked away from the lectern, muttered, "Oh my God, I didn't think they'd buy it." And so we made it through a year, we didn't have a riot. And the media pundits, chewing over Prince's decline, ran block capital headline after headline. They celebrated every baton, every plane, every chain. Yeah, all right, some of those people we got rid of, they were quite nice, but look at the bright side, look how much space we've got. Now, don't deny it, it all went off without a riot. Oh, darling, we really can't afford to holiday far. Maybe this year we'll go to Luxembourg, the Cayman Islands, Dublin, Jersey, Panama. For myself, I've got great health. What was all the fuss? The neighbours still talk to us. The cars are still in the driveway. And those kids back home, well, dial it to the highest. They were very good and they didn't have a riot. So by the time November rolled around and the statues and the memorials were erected to who the many and the few, fingers were pointed like bayonets if you dare to expect any different form of respect beyond the mainstream poppy repertoire, still etc., etc., etc. The homeowners are home. The managers have managed. The English lion now wears new fur. Here's the manifesto. Traitors, stay silent. We got our food banks back, so keep your hopes private. We made it through a year and we didn't have a riot. Thank you very much. So, it is my absolute blooming pleasure to introduce our guest act for the Vandal Factory podcast. So we're going to sit here and...
No, we can't. It's too close.
It's too
we can't
intense.
sit on the stage.
Listen, folks, you can give us a half-assed clap, but you cannot give this act a half-assed clap. Please, make some noise for Millie Manders!
And this is Angry Side. when the horn lines aren't there. This is the last single we dropped from the album, and it's called Me Too.
As she stands before the judge with her knickers on display, she's asked what was she thinking lying on his bed that day. So she pleads for them to understand that they had been good friends. She never thought that she should fear him breaking her trust with us. They grind her down with questions, reliving every little thing, make her feel like she's the one on trial. They say that she had tempted him, said asking for it, would you go? Our body's still against. If one victim is still blamed, our body's still against until the systems change. It doesn't matter what we wear, it doesn't matter how we speak. The conversation's still the same. You blame the girl for being weak. She carries herself forward into each relationship because she's learned that she's a thing to be owned and used again. So the cycle ever goes around, and I think that love is lost. She'll be old and used and worn unless she's about to lose her cross it, asking for it. Would you go? Said asking for it. Would you go? Our body's still that ass. If one victim is still blamed, our body's still at us until the systems change. It doesn't matter what we wear, it doesn't matter how we speak. The conversation's still the same. You blame the girl for being weak. Our body's still at us. If one victim is still blamed, our body's still at us until the systems change. It doesn't matter what we wear, it doesn't matter how we speak. The conversation's still the same. You blame the girl for being weak.
What a voice! How amazing was that? Oh, take a beat, take a breath, and come join us, and we'll have a little chat. Steady now, Henry. You've got yourself all in a tangle.
They've got the dyspraxic voice sorting out the leads.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Hey.
There you go, Petrol. Yeah, come sit and have a chat. Tell us your name, where you're from, all that jazz. You want to sit in the middle like a little random factory sandwich.
Oh, is that yours?
There you go, and you can have
How's
that
that
one.
one? Great. I'll edit all this out, don't worry, it's fine.
Wow, that was amazing. It feels like really special. I know we're very close to each other, aren't we? Sorry about that.
It's cozy.
But
Hello.
that's incredible to have such a powerful voice in such an intimate space. Is really awesome.
Thank you.
So let's start there then. Where? Tell us the story of your voice. I know there's that line of like, it doesn't matter how we speak, which always stands out to me. But tell me about how did you start off singing?
My mum would tell you I was singing in my high chair through my food. It was quite messy, apparently.
I've always done music. I've always sung. I've always annoyed people on school buses listening to music, trying to do the harmony badly. So I started.
We are kindred spirits, you know. We're really bad.
What were those songs on the school bus?
Oh, it was totally Republica. I wanted to be Saffron. I wanted her hair, her outfits, her voice, her music. I just wanted to be her. And then possibly some Destiny's Child as well.
Yes.
Wanna be the only one to hold you. Anyway, yeah, it was bad.
I think next
It was bad.
MPF we need to have a cover set,
Yeah.
Destiny's Child cover set in
I
Rebellion.
am not the person for that. I am sure there are people far better equipped, vocally and everything else. It's not me. Sorry. But yeah, I've been singing my whole life. Started lessons when I was 15. They were classically trained lessons. And I've always been in bands, really, since high school, like trying to be famous, or whatever, and just having lots of fun.
And then
Doing some-
when did the Shutups come along?
Not until about 2016. I'd already been sort of Millie Manders as a solo entity since about 2012, 2013, and then having session musicians a lot, but I didn't get a really solid band until about 2016. And then people were like, well, you've got a proper band now, so what are you going to call it? And that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Before we forget, plug your set tomorrow.
Tonight.
Tonight, yeah, we are at Gorilla at 7:50 p.m. this evening.
Amazing. So we're all going to be there, aren't we? And hear the full band.
And we should say the acoustic was Joe, where's he going?
Joe's in the audience. In
Oh, there
fact,
it is. All right.
when I got the set time and venue right, he went, yeah.
Yeah, give us a cheer, Joe. Shut up. I really wanted to do that. I've been thinking about that for about a week.
It's so funny, Millie, you say that you got classical training, because I think what I feel like stands your music apart from a lot in the punk scene is there's no shade to other singers, but I think a lot go like down and it's rough and it's gruff, but like you open so much, and then the songs, the construction, I feel are just big songs, big anthems. Is that like, yeah, a decision in going, it can be acoustic and stripped down and just you and a guitarist, but how does that build into going, it's going to be like this 5-minute anthem that's about these big topics for you?
Honestly, we just write music that we like, and if that comes out as anthemic or whatever, then that's great, and if people enjoy it, that's great. I write my lyrics about things that are making me angry or sad or in any other way, emotionally, like it has to be like a physical reaction almost to the emotion for me to write a song about it. So a lot of my lyricism and melodies come from that. I am very pop sensibilities orientated, but I love my punk. I grew up with such a massive array of music and genres in my house as a kid, and I think that comes across in the songs, but also my band members also have really broad music tastes. We all land in punk as like a default because we love the community and we love the politicism and we love the rage, but we all have such a varied music taste that I think that's part of what feeds into the way that we write music and why it becomes not just punk but this other range of sounds, I guess.
Yeah, and that absolutely comes across, especially in the latest album. The urgency of your emotion, I think, is palpable in every song. And again, what I think sets it apart is, and what often draws me towards any kind of music of any genre, is if there's a story. And I think in all that, the reason I love the latest album is every single song I can hear a story, and I immediately had characters and people and places interacting in my imagination, and that kind of sense of, are you aware of that? That you have are you writing with that in mind, or is that instinctual for you?
I mean, obviously, there will be certain experiences that might start the inspiration for a song, and I love storytelling. I was also a poet, so I used to do a lot of like
You
slams
can
and
tell,
poetry
see, you can
and stuff
always
like that,
tell,
so
can't you?
Do you want to
That's
slot on
it.
the poetry stage at MPF?
I'm good, thanks. That is really nerve-wracking. That was something that took a lot of guts. So watching you do your poem a little while ago was like, wow. I mean, not only was it a really potent poem, I really enjoyed it. It takes a lot of guts to stand there with no backing, no instrumentation, and spill your heart and soul out into an audience. So, no thank you.
Yeah,
thank you, but thank you.
You don't want to hear him sing, so put it that way. It's like, if you heard him sing really poetry, you find it's a piece of piss for you.
But yeah, essentially I love storytelling, and I love making, I guess, trying to create lyrics that put someone in a position to feel what I'm feeling at the time.
Amazing.
Well, I was going to say a lot of those feelings, obviously we just said angry side, and a lot of politics in this album, very raw politics, very relevant, and like sometimes as a poet I go, like the last one that you just heard, Riot, it doesn't specifically name things in the world because I wanted it to be universal, but I have other poems that are about what's happening in Palestine, and so I just wonder, like, was that a very conscious decision of saying I need to name what's happening now in 2024, 25?
Oh yeah, I mean 100%. We were at 10 songs at the time when we were about to go in the studio in December 2023. So we recorded it in 2023, we released it in 2024. It was a drawn-out process of trying to promote the album in order to get it there. And it was maybe August. It was definitely hot. It was brutal. We were in the writing room, and I had it was just after the 7th of October. So actually, it would have been later than that. It would have been early November. We just had lots of heaters on in the room. Sorry. Anyway, I'm getting away from myself. It was November, and 7th of October had happened. We were all feeling sick about what was happening. It was obvious that the retaliation was way overboard. And I, to my shame, had never understood the Palestinian conflict, the occupation. I had been fed the same lies as everybody else, that it was just, a conflict between religions out in the Middle East, and it's this argument over this tiny strip of land, everything's fine, But 7th of October woke me up, and I was suddenly like, this isn't right, this doesn't make sense to me. Why are all of these TV stations saying that this is absolutely okay and it's just self-defense? And I went and looked. And then I discovered about, the things happening in Congo. And these are all things like Sudan and the genocide happening in there. All these things are things that you have mentioned in passing, but they're all dressed up to be minimalized. And suddenly this flood of information and injustices around the world were there and available to me and on my Instagram feed, and things that nobody should be going through and nobody should have to see and witness on a daily basis were there and available to me, and I was reading about more stuff to make myself more informed. And I had to write a song. It just did not feel right to not have an 11th song, and so a 12th song had to be found, because we weren't going to do an 11th song album. Sorry, even numbers. But it was just so important, and this song just came together at that rehearsal. Joe had happened to have a track that he was writing as well, and the lyrics that I had been writing worked with it, and it was kind of stars aligning. It had to go on the album. It was too important not to do. So that's how it happened.
And is this Can I Get Off?
This is Can I Get Off, yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. Are we going to shuffle on, and we're going to hear, you're going to close the show for us, aren't you? So we're going to have one more track from Millie at the end of the show. But
sure.
Thank you so much
for
having
me
a chat with us.
It's been amazing.
Yeah, phenomenal. Such a pleasure to have you. You can go
Would you like to
get
swap
comfy
seats again?
with Joe.
Yeah, let's do a little bit of shuffling.
Yeah.
Let's do the MPF shuffle. Where's the mic stand gone? Oh, it's over there.
Now, this is my bit where I get to waffle on. We have a regular feature on the show called Nat's Provocation Stations. I'm Nat, and we do the chatting, and it's the train station thing. Anyway, we have a jingle usually that we can play, but we haven't brought them with us, so if it's all right with you, we're all going to do the jingle together. So I'm going to do Nat's Provocation Station, and then like we're pulling into a train station, we're all going to go choo-choo, because he doesn't like making sounds on trains. Okay, you ready? I'm waking you up a bit now, come on. Nat's Provocation Stations! Choo-choo!
Oh, did you have a nice time at the pub festival this weekend? Yeah, we all made train noises.
Joy in all their little faces! Come on, everyone's all excited, made the sound of Trains. Anyway, so this is a bit where usually I steady on now, Joe. I talk about my creative practice in theatre and community arts, and I'm doing a PhD, so we get to do lots of big reading, and I talk about it and document it on this podcast. But sometimes it's too difficult to talk about work when there's so much going on, and I think I can relate so much to your urgency to say something and write something, and every time I tried to come and write this provocation, all I could think about is how tired I was. So it's hard. That's what I'm going to talk about. It's hard being living and resisting all the time in these dark days, and I believe that. Now I'm gone. Let's just take a minute. I've got excited. We've all got excited. Let's settle down. I think we're living through hard times, and let's acknowledge that. Let's acknowledge that it's difficult, and you can get worn out and get worn down. And my goodness, I am aware that there's 3-4 genocides going on, and millions of people would give their life. They would kill to have the genuine security that I have almost every single day. However, I am medically tired. Like, give me a cheer if you're tired.
Yeah.
See, Henry was like, no, they're going to be at the beginning of a punk festival, they're not going to be tired. And I was like, no, I am tapped into society, a level of tiredness that you don't understand with your relentless energy. Anyway, I've got a certificate.
Love you too, Natalie.
Anyway. I've got a certificate for being tired because I live with chronic pain and fatigue. Give me a cheer if you've got a certificate for being tired. Oh, do you know why that is? Because they're all at home. They didn't make it out because they're too tired. We've got a nearly. You're working on it. Yeah. Working on getting a certificate. All right, I'll make you one. I'll give you one. Yeah. It's hard. I've come off the back of 3 months of fatigue where just getting through the day was all I could manage, and getting work done and the bare essentials was all I could manage, and things like eating and washing were like had to be negotiated. And actually, thank God, I know I tease him, but thank God I live with Henry and he has to do a lot of heavy lifting when I spend time lying down. So I often feel like I haven't got much more to give to my community or to give to the resistance. And I don't think it's a coincidence that around this time you also start feeling more isolated. It can be incredibly isolating to be a disabled person, and that can lead to quite individualistic thoughts. You can start worrying about my money and my future and my house and my jobs. I can start thinking about my responsibilities. I start feeling old and thin and sort of stretched, like butter spread over too much bread. Anyone get that reference? Anyone get that reference? Oh, it's a Tolkien reference. It's in Lord of the Rings. I'm so disappointed. Are you kidding me? You get minus nerd points. Jesus. I was so chuffed when I thought of that. I was like, oh, they'll love it. They'll absolutely love it. No. It's really important to remember that individualistic feeling isn't a coincidence. It is a construct created by the 1%. That is exactly how they want us to be feeling. They want us to be feeling like we are fighting against a tide that is pulling us into lonelier and lonelier waters. I heard Grace Blakely, the journalist and anti-capitalist economist, yeah, she's one of them, talking the other day, and she was saying after every talk that she gives, she gets the same question, guaranteed, and that is, someone puts up their hand and says, what can I do? And she says, 50 years ago, if we were in a room like this and we were talking about injustice and the economy and what we need to do, people wouldn't say, what can I do? People would say, what can we do? Because they'd have a sense that they were part of a union, part of a village, part of a church, part of a community. And we always need to be remembering and fighting against that part of you that says me and I, and that we're alone in this, and do whatever you can do to connect to each other and become a we. So, I don't blame you if you're down and that you're finding hope hard to strive for. Like we said, hope is energy. Anger is energy. And if you don't have a lot of energy, I don't know why my second page is, Henry, never mind, then it can be really hard to come by. However, I'm going to end on a quote of my favourite, found it! Cheers, pal. My favourite, Rebecca Solnit. Oh, if you haven't read Rebecca Solnit, go and read some Rebecca Solnit in her book, Hope in the Dark. She says this about hope. Hope is not a lottery ticket that you can sit on and clutch and feel lucky. It is an axe you break down doors in an emergency. Hope should shove you out the door because it will take everything you have to steer the future away from endless war, from the annihilation of Earth's treasures and the grinding down of the poor and the marginal. To hope is to give yourself to the future. And the commitment to the future is what makes the present inhabitable. So I know the solution lies in community. I know the solution lies from turning that I voice into a we voice. I know the solution lies in collective action. And don't worry, folks, we won't let you sit in hopelessness for very long. Thank you very much. We're going to welcome Millie Manders back to the stage. So we just thought we'd bring it to do a little reflection stations. What do you think?
I mean, that was a lot.
It was a
so
lot, wasn't
about
it?
which bit?
Do you get tired?
All the time.
Yeah.
I'm a touring musician. That's what we live through.
Yeah.
It's, you know.
I guess it's what gives, in the times of hopelessness, what are the things that you reach for?
I definitely reach for my band for a start.
Yeah.
Like, we have a great group chat, and if any of us are feeling down, and it's usually me, running into the group chat to be like, I don't want to cope with this today, guys. And they're a great source to go to. Obviously, my partner, my family. So it is my community that I go to first. And you're right, like, I've been. It's something that I've noticed over decades is the breaking down of community everywhere. Whether that's in the workplace or out in your town, or, you know, not trusting your neighbour to get to know them. Like, it's been broken down everywhere. And I remember as a kid having street parties that were centered around my house. My mum would just open, you know, one of us would have left the freezer open, inevitably. And so she would cook everything in the freezer and then invite all of the neighbours over, and we'd all be sitting there having tea and cakes and fish fingers or whatever it was that was in the freezer.
And then that's it. I had potato wedges and chicken nuggets in my mind then.
Or chalk ices that were about to, you know, die a horrible death. And we would all be sitting there and we'd all know our entire street of neighbours, and you just don't have that anymore.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean you all get on. It's not like some utopia. People are arseholes. We all know that.
But you know that if you could walk down the
You can
street
still
and you
get on
needed
with them.
something, somebody would help you because they all knew your name and they knew where you lived and all that sort of stuff. And you don't really have that anymore, but the hope that I do have is from the community I do create. And the punk community this week has given me so much hope. You know, the vast majority of the bands that I follow, interact with, tour with, know of, posted something in solidarity with trans people this week, and that was so vitally important to see. It was a serious minority of people going the other way, and that was blockety block block. So, you know, like, seeing that community come together this week has been really, it's really sort of heartwarming and sort of fed the soul to see so many people standing up and saying, we are a safe space for you. We are not a safe space for people that don't protect you and don't have your interests at heart. So, yeah.
Amazing.
I'm thinking about Billy Elliot.
Why?
So, if you don't know Billy Elliot,
Give
it's
us a
like
jig.
a working class.
The kid who did ballet.
Yeah, working class kid does ballet, and he gets to the community support him to go off to London to follow his dream. But and I love that film. The older I get, the more I find it problematic. That it's like you get to do your dream. We will find your uniqueness. You're talented, and you can go live that
And he's
dream.
exceptional, isn't he?
He's
It's that
exceptional.
exceptional.
And it's weirdly actually quite Thatcherite. Even a film and a musical that criticises Thatcher, actually, the message is like you get to go to London and escape your class. And so in terms of collective ideas and arts, it's thinking about you are an artist and you get your slice and your space on a stage. And I'm a poet and book poetry stuff. Of course, I want to give people that space, but trying to rethink that frame of going, it's not that individual that is the artist. How are we the community of artists, or how do we share that? How do we collaborate on that? How do we break down that rather than just the hierarchy of someone on a stage, people watch, we clap, you work good enough to get the booking, sorry, maybe you can reapply next year for the funding or the slot.
Yeah, I think it's something that we can all do and take the time to do, is looking at each element of our lives and thinking, how do I turn that I into a we? And how can we collectivise it? And there's so much more I could have read out, but I got overwhelmed about, you can look at collectivising stuff from an economic point of view, or you can look at it from an ownership point of view, but that, as Henry said, it could be arts, it could be property, it could be an economic model. There's all sorts that we can do. Do you know what? Even Fun Mums on Instagram that I saw the other day had decided that for their kids they were going to make 5 packed lunches, and they'd all make the same packed lunch, and then on the Sunday they all swap packed lunches, so that they've made one set. Do you see what I mean? Someone's made one. So one person, right, has made 5 jam sandwiches.
Oh, yeah.
Shut up, Henry. So there's one person and there's 5 jam sandwiches, yeah. But someone else has made cheese sandwiches, and someone else has got chicken nuggets or whatever, and then they all swap, so the kids get different things on different days, because variety of diet is important for children. Shut up!
What's in your packed lunch?
Anyway, I just thought it was an interesting way of collectivising something.
Do you actually want to know?
Yeah, what's in your packed lunch?
I made vegan coronation chicken sandwiches, and they're delightful.
Ooh,
Thank
very
you.
nice. So just before we go, has anyone else got an interesting example of how they've collectivised something? That's, I know, a hard one. Oh, yeah,
Person
go on,
over
give
the
us a
back.
go. Hello. You didn't get a zine earlier, did you?
No, I didn't.
I'm going to assume that you're going to say something great and give you a zine.
Pressure's on.
It's the participation that counts now.
Hello. We did lots of participation at the beginning, so well done for being brave and joining in. What's your name? Where are you coming from?
For reasons that will become apparent, I'm not going to give you my name. So I'm from somewhere down south near Reading, and the thing we collectivised is a disused industrial salvage yard and warehouse that we've turned into a radical library. I think we're on Instagram as Reading Radical Library. If I can tell you exactly where it is, but well, you should probably just DM the Instagram account for that. Yeah.
How does that work?
I mean, it's a squat.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Do I need a library card?
of course you don't need a library card. We can make you a library card. We can probably make you a library card. I'll, on the off chance any of the others are listening, shout out to everyone who's helped us make this happen. I say I made this happen. I didn't really do much. I just dropped a lot of furniture off after they'd gotten in, but and fixed the plumbing. Well, I did some of the plumbing.
That's amazing. So can anyone come and just help themselves to a book?
Help yourself to a book, a sticker. They do various other events. Let me find the Instagram account and read out the name, because I don't think it's just Reading Radical Library. I think it's like our Radical
Surely
Library.
there's a pun of
Yeah.
reading in the Reading
Oh God.
Radical Library, right?
To be honest, we've probably got enough sort of followers in that kind of scene. If you look up Reading Radical Library on Instagram, you might find us. If not, wait a few months and try it again when we're a bit bigger.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, if you can find it, put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
So shout out to that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Alrighty then, shall we round off and have some more music?
Have we you going to say should we round up and have a bevy? Yeah, let's round up and have some bloody music.
Well,
Sure.
thanks very much,
Yeah,
folks, for coming. We've been Vandal Factory. You can follow us on all the usual places, and is that it?
Yeah, give us a 5-star review, listen to other episodes. We did this live last year with Liv Winter and Erica Freyas, so if you want to hear more cool punk stuff, we've got some bloody patches. Look at that, just free, I'll pop them there.
Whoa. Tell your friends.
Fucking smash capitalism. We're going to leave you in the very capable hands of Millie Manders and one of the Shutup.
So mean, my drummer just left. My bassist is at the back having a nap, like,